Are your Alocasia corms just sitting there doing nothing, turning soft and mushy or rotting? If that sounds familiar, don't worry, you're not alone. And believe me, I've been there too. I have been growing Alocasia from corms for about 5 or 6 years now. Since then, I have grown a lot of beautiful plants from corms, and I have also killed quite a few while I was figuring things out. So everything I'm sharing in this video comes from my own experience, not just from what the internet keeps repeating. Here is a good example. In this box I have dragon scale corms that did sprout, but clearly something went wrong along the way. And right next to them I have few Amazonica corms that are healthy and growing really well. And all of these Alocasias started from corms too. They may be different varieties, but they all need very similar conditions to get started. So the same mistakes can happen with any of them. Before we start, let me quickly show you what corms are. Corms are these little round growths that Alocasia produces underground around the roots. When you repot a mature healthy Alocasia, you may find a few of them hiding in there, and each one has the potential to grow into a whole new plant. I have a full video showing the whole process from taking the corms out to growing and potting up the young plants, so I'll leave the link in the description. The first mistake is choosing a growing medium that doesn't really fit your routine. Alocasia corms can grow in soil, water, moss, leca, perlite. All of this can work, so there isn't one best medium for everyone. The important part is choosing one that you can manage easily. For example, water can work very well, but if you don't have time to check the level, it may not be the easiest option for you. An open container can work too, but it dries out much faster, so you need to keep a closer eye on moisture. So the mistake is not choosing water instead of perlite or moss instead of soil. It's choosing a method that doesn't fit the way you actually care for your plants. Soil is probably the most familiar option. You can place the corm directly in a light, airy mix and let it grow there. The downside is that you cannot really see what is happening underneath, so you have to be careful with moisture. If the mix stays too wet for too long, the corm can start to soften and rot before you even see any growth. Water gives you the opposite experience. You can see the corm, watch the roots develop and know exactly what is happening. But you need to keep an eye on the water level and make sure too much of the corm is not sitting underwater all the time. Moss is very good at holding moisture, which is why many people like it for propagation. But this is also where you need to be careful. It can look fine on the surface while still holding a lot of water inside. So if you are not used to growing in moss, it is easy to keep it wetter than the corm actually needs. Leca can work well too, especially if you already know how to grow plants in semi-hydro. It gives the roots plenty of air, but the moisture setup is different again, so you need to understand how high to keep the water and how much of the corm should stay in contact with that moisture. I usually grow mine in perlite because for me it is the easiest one to control. It keeps the corm stable, holds enough moisture without staying too dense, and gives the new roots plenty of air. I can also quickly see when it's starting to dry out, and when the plant is ready to move, it lifts out very easily without disturbing those delicate new roots. But that doesn't mean that you have to use only perlite. If soil works well for you, use the soil. If you are comfortable with moss, water or leca, those can work too. The important thing is to understand the medium you choose and adjust the moisture to that medium. Do not copy the same watering routine from one method to another and expect the same results. The second mistake is keeping the propagation box too wet. When you are waiting for a corm to sprout, it's very easy to think that more moisture will help it grow faster. You cover the box, you see condensation on the walls, and because of Alocasia's love humidity, it feels like more must be better. But high humidity and soaking wet medium are not the same thing. You do want to keep the box covered because that helps hold in warmth and humidity and stops the corms from drying out too quickly. What you don't want is perlite that stays constantly saturated with water collecting at the bottom. The medium should stay damp, not soaking wet. And this dragon scale box is a good example of what can happen when that balance goes too far. I left this box closed and too wet for far too long. Most of the corms did sprout, so keeping them covered was not the problem. The problem was what happened after that. Some of the new growth kept stretching until it reached the lid. The leaves became curled and pressed against the top, and there was a lot of moisture trapped around them with a very little airflow. A few of the leaves are already soft and damaged, and some of the corms are starting to look mushy. So when you check your own box, do not automatically add more water just because you want the corms to sprout faster. Look at the whole container first. If there is already plenty of condensation on the walls and the perlite still looks damp, leave it alone. You don't need to mist again just because the very top looks a little dry. It's much safer to let the medium dry slightly than to keep adding water to a box that is already holding plenty of moisture. You should also give the box a little fresh air from time to time. I usually open mine every couple of days, just for a short while. You don't need to leave the lid open for long, just open it briefly to let some fresh air in, then close it again. And while you're there, take a quick look at the corms too. A little green algae on the perlite can happen in warm, bright, humid box, and a small amount it is usually not a problem. What you really want to watch for is a corm that starts becoming soft, visible mold, or a bad smell when you open the container. Those are much more important signs that things may be staying too wet. So yes, keep your corms warm and humid. Just remember that humidity does not mean you need to keep adding water. Keep the medium damp, not saturated. Give the box a little fresh air and let the corm do the rest. The third mistake is overthinking the corm too much. Which way it should face, whether it's growing, and what's happening underneath. Let's start with the position because this is one of the first things people worry about. Some corms have a very obvious growth point, so you can easily tell which side should face up. But with others, especially the smaller ones, it can be really hard to tell. If you can see the growth point, place that side facing up. But if you can't, just place the corm on its side. The new shoot can usually find its way up on its own. And I see this in my own plants too. These Alocasias produced babies from corms that I never removed or positioned, and they still came up perfectly well. Once the corm is planted, do not keep taking it out of the medium or digging around it to look for the roots. Those first roots are very small and very delicate, and you can easily damage them. What helps much more is warmth and time. I keep mine around 75 degrees Fahrenheit or a little warmer. If the room is cooler, they can take much longer to sprout. Light is less important before you see green growth, so I keep the box somewhere bright but away from strong direct sun. Once you see a green shot or the first leaf, give the young plant plenty of bright indirect light. Then leave it alone, keep it warm and give it some time. The fourth mistake is moving the young plant too soon. As soon as you see the first leaf, it already looks ready for its own pot, but underneath the root system may still be very small and delicate. So before you move it, look at the roots, not just the leaves. I usually wait until mine have around 3 leaves and a good amount of visible roots. 3 leaves is not a strict rule. What matters more is that the roots are developed enough to handle the move. And when you do take it out, be gentle. Don't pull the plant out, or washing the roots, or trying to remove every little piece of medium. If some perlite stays attached, I leave it there. Just lift the plant carefully and disturb the roots as little as possible. Once it's ready, you can move it into more perlite or into a light airy potting mix. The main thing is simple: don't decide the plant is ready just because you see a leaf. Let the roots tell you when it's time to move. The fifth mistake happens after your corm has already sprouted and you have moved the young plant into its own pot. At that point, it's easy to think the difficult part is over, but there is one more change I would not rush. Repotting itself is already a big change for such a young plant. You are moving it into a new container, new different medium, and its delicate roots need some time to settle in. That's why I keep the humidity the same for a little longer. It has spent its whole life in a warm, humid box, so I don't want to change everything at once. If you repot it and immediately remove the cover as well, the plant is dealing with 2 big changes at once. I have seen this with my own plants. Sometimes it looks like the repotting caused the problem, but the sudden drop in humidity can make the things even harder for the plant. The plant was moved, the roots were disturbed, and at the same time it suddenly went from very high humidity to much drier room air. That can be a lot for such a small plant to handle. So after I pot up a young alocasia, I keep it covered at first. That gives the roots time to settle into the new pot while the plant is still in the same humidity. After a few days, I start opening the cover a little more. Then over the next week or 2, I gradually leave it open for longer until the plant is ready to stay uncovered. In this period, watch how the leaves respond, and if the plant looks stressed, give it a little more time. The goal is not to keep it covered forever, just to avoid making 2 big changes at once. And once it's uncovered, try to avoid very dry air. If your room is dry, I would rely more on a humidifier or a naturally humid room than on misting alone. So after potting up, let the plant settle first, then slowly get it used to normal room conditions. So those are the 5 mistakes I would avoid when growing Alocasia from corms. Once you understand your growing medium, keep the moisture under control, give the corms warmth and time, and make each transition gradually, the whole process becomes much easier. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you want to see more Alocasia care and propagation videos, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and happy growing!